Alright, so, remember when I said I wasn't gonna do reviews for Falcon and Winter Soldier? Yeah, I decided against that. I decided to, I was like, fuck it, I'll just, since I don't really usually do episode reviews, I usually don't do that. I usually just kind of, just review, like, I wanted to initially do, like, with WandaVision, I wanted to just review the premiere, do a couple ideas, and then do the series finale. But since this is only 6 episodes long, and like every episode got me thinking and got me talking, I decided, you know what? I will do episode reviews of Falcon and Winter Soldier. So here we are now. So here we go. I will say that there will be some spoilers for this. The episode has been out for a couple hours. If you don't want any spoilers, don't click on this video right away. Just wait a couple. Just watch the episode and then come back. Or if you don't care about spoilers, then feel free to keep watching. So we open up with seeing John Walker in here, and yeah, it took me a while to figure out who that actor was, because I was like, I know I've seen that guy before, and then I was like, oh yeah, I saw him in Overlord. He was in the movie Overlord a couple years ago. So I was like, oh, okay, it's that guy. So John in here is seen in Good Morning America, and they parade him out because you damn well know that the U.S. government would use him like if they had Captain America signed, sealed, delivered, they would make him a goddamn product like they tried to do in the first movie. So, yeah, it would make sense that the U.S. government would make their greatest asset into like into a weapon, essentially. I also like that it took me a moment to be like, I'm not like his sidekick in here. I was like, I know who that is. I was like, I know. And then he said, oh, I'm Battlestar. And I was like, oh shit, it's Battlestar. Battlestar, for those who don't know, is another Captain America character who Steve befriended, and he became Captain America for like a hot minute as well. So it's cool to see him here working with John Walker, who like feels a lot of pressure, and I almost feel bad for him if I already didn't know that John Walker was a piece of shit. So I'm keeping I do pity him, like I do feel bad for John in here, but at the same time I'm like, I know that you're a piece of garbage, John. And he's like, I know I'm not trying to be Steve, I just want to be a good Captain America. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of know you better, John, but maybe the MCU will make me feel better, will make me care about him. That's the thing about the MCU, it's a different universe, so, it doesn't have to be 100% accurate like the regular Marvel universe, so maybe they can make John complex again, complex, and I can actually feel for this guy, even though I know he's a racist piece of shit. Then again, he does have a African-American wife in here, so I was like, alright, they took the racism part out. That's better. That's a lot better. Because in the comics, John Walker was a low-key racist, so I'm glad they took that out. So maybe I'm hoping they'll make John Walker a more interesting character. Anyway, so moving on to other stuff in here, we get the appearance of more of those Flag Smasher super soldiers that Falcon and Bucky are after. And yeah, Sam and Bucky, like they talked about before this show was a thing, that it was going to be very reminiscent of like a buddy cop show, and it really shows here. Like if you liked 48 Hours or any other buddy cop movie that came out in the 80s, like Lethal Weapon and all that, yeah, you're basically getting a superhero version of Lethal Weapon. That's basically what you're getting in this show, and I'm all for it. I love the banter between the two. It was so easy. I really dug this. I really dug how this all played out. The action sequences were great. Again, like I said in my premiere review, that the scale of these fight sequences and just how cinematic it feels in these shows, like, while WandaVision did have its own cinematic scope and whatnot, it tried to be like more sitcom. Obviously, that's what it was going for. But here, like I said, it really does give you that the MCU feel, the real MCU feel that we've been kind of missing for about a year. So that's the big thing right there, is that having the MCU here was really cool, and seeing this seeing these fight sequences were really well done, and there were some surprises. There were some legit surprises in this show that I was not expecting at all, and I was like, oh my god, there were two, one of which I actually talked about in my premiere review, and Chris, all I'm going to say is you were right, man. You called it from the get-go. You called it, and my jaw dropped. I was like, holy shit, Chris called it of who might be the real villain in this story. Because we see the Flag Smashers and the people are really, like, rallying to them. Like, we really see that there are people out there who, like, really believe in their cause. Like, ordinary people are rallying to the Flag Smashers and their cause. And they're, like, giving, medicine to people and whatnot. And they're trying to protect people. They're like, yeah, they cared more about the people who've come back than they have the people who were already here. And I'm like, that's actually an interesting mentality, because I honestly believe that would actually happen if you just had another 500 million people come back, a couple billion people come back. They'd be more interested in trying to get the status quo back than they would trying to move on to it, because that's how the world works. The story of the world is that the powers that be will always try to keep the status quo. That's how it is. Like, that's how, there's always, I always have that fear that after COVID's done, that no one's going to learn a damn thing from this, and we're just going to go back to the status quo and lickety-split. Like, no one's going to learn that, I don't, that's a topic for another time, but like I said, but the bottom line and what this show is trying to convey is that the powers that be will always try to keep the status quo. And that's why I think that works so well in this day and age, because we're seeing a world that is not trying to be a status quo anymore. So it's really cool to see that in here. Anyway, so let's talk about surprise number one, and this was the big one for me. This was the one that made me go, "Oh my god!" I literally went, "Oh my god!" when I saw this. We get Isaiah and Eli Bradley. That's right, the Black Captain America and his grandson, Patriot. We finally have Patriot in the MCU. Granted, they don't make a big deal of it. We just see Eli. They don't name him. They just show him, and he introduced him to Isaiah, who, in this continuity, fought in the Korean War. He was the Captain America of the Korean War who fought Bucky when he was doing an assassination job in Korea. Yeah, that was so cool to see Isaiah. I was not expecting that. Like, there was rumblings of seeing Isaiah in here or getting a mention of Isaiah Bradley, but to see Isaiah and Eli was so cool, because again, I love the Young Avengers. We're clearly building to Young Avengers, and this was such a low-key moment for Eli, because, like I said, I don't think they named, maybe they did and I just didn't hear it, but yeah, to see Eli Bradley here, we're totally, yeah, and after getting the twins in the previous show, we're clearly building more and more to Young Avengers, and of course in Hawkeye we got Kate, so we're getting these it's so cool that we're backdoor building to all of this, including with Cassidy, with Cass and Ant-Man. So yeah, the more and more we're seeing more and more to the Young Avengers. So I am all for it. I am all for seeing that, seeing how this all plays out. We move on. Like I said, Chris, if you're watching this, you were right. Mount Vernon Kid made a theory that he thinks that the one villain that we were going to see in here, and he's like, hey, I think the big villain that we may be seeing outside of Zemo is going to be the Power Broker. And then they ever so casually drop that, like, there's a guy on the phone, like, one of the women, one of the leaders of the Flag Smashers looks at her phone and says, you took something from me, I'm gonna kill you and get it back. And I was like, that has to be Zemo, because that could be... Is that the broker? And then it turns out they say it's the Power Broker's men. And I was like, oh shit. The Power Broker is gonna be the big villain here. So we don't know who... So, for those who don't know who the Power Broker is, the Power Broker is a metahuman... He sells metahuman powers on the black market and metahuman weapons. He was kind of like what Toomes was doing in Spider-Man Homecoming. But he sells more like metahuman powers, or instead of like more... He does sell weapons, but it's more like metahuman abilities. And also he finances villains. He's a major villain financer for a lot of evil schemes. So he's a very powerful person. So it's really cool to see him. Well, we get a mention of him, but we don't see him, and I'm like, I am so ready to see the Power Broker here. And again, Chris, you called it from the beginning. You straight up called it from the beginning. So, hats off to you, man. That was so, like, you must be feeling real good, because you called it, and you also said that we may be getting Isaiah and Eli in this show. So, double for you, man. Yeah. So that's I was really excited for that. So. This is really cool. We're ending with them going to see Zemo, and it's leading me to believe: are they going to be working with Zemo? Are they going to break Zemo out of prison because he knows something, and are they going to be working with him? Because like they didn't say like outright that Zemo was the big villain. Like, could it be that what we may be getting is them working together with Zemo? That's a big think right there. That is a wrinkle brain moment right there. That is a wrinkle brain moment. Anyway, so so you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think of Falcon and Winter Soldier episode 2? Did you guys like it? Hate it? Where do you think the show's gonna go? Are you guys excited to see Isaiah and Eli Bradley here? And what do you guys think of the Power Broker being mentioned and probably the big villain? Just comment below, let me know. And once again, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I will see you next time in the multiverse. Oh, before I go, one other thing I wanted to mention that I forgot to mention in my review, after they introduce Eli and Isaiah, there's a moment in here that I was like, wow, that felt real. Like, especially in this day and age, that felt very real. And you know what scene I'm talking about if you've seen the episode. If you saw the episode, I was like, holy shit. Yeah, they went there, and I'm like, I don't blame them for it. I'm glad they decided to go all out on that scene and touch on that. So, you know, kudos for that. So I wanted to mention that was a ballsy scene to see in the MCU outside of Black Panther. So, you know, kudos to the creative team for doing that, and you know, that's all I can really say without going too deep and spoiling that scene. But I've spoiled enough. But yeah, that was a hard to talk about scene. But I was like, I'd feel remiss if I didn't at least bring it up and, you know, say, hey, creative team of Falcon and Winter Soldier, you guys are killing it, especially after showing that scene during what's going on in the world right now. So, anyway, so once again, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the multiverse.